गंधार्वित गिरिधारी शिशि राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार शुतर शुत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभागवत श्री गोक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विश्व शिव सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानु गौड़ीय गुरु वर्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गोपाल वृंद की जाय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौड़ मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि हरे कृष्ण। I'll do a short Mangalacharan and then begin. I'm not going to put the words up on the screen because I don't even know where it is right now. अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृंदाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवाय च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams. It's just Anadi Krishna Prabhu and me today. And I'm sure a bunch of devotees will be watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayadeva Prabhu, everybody else. Yeah, so I had stopped doing the reading for quite a few days now because this songbook project got Well, for a few different reasons. One of the reasons, well, there was a flood here in Vrindavan. The Yamuna rose very high, right up to the entrance of Gopinath Bhavan, like right up to the, if you've been into Gopinath Bhavan, there's like a walkway up, so right up to that point. Um, and so yeah, and like all the cows were just like huddled right in front of the doorway. Um, and uh, and so during that whole time, they shut down the power for a few days. There was no power. Um, and they did have a generator here, but it would only come on for a short time, and then it would shut off again. And for some reason, the Wi-Fi wasn't working um, on the battery power. And my mobile data wasn't working very well. And so I actually wasn't able to go live. But just yesterday, the power came back. And so now yeah, I thought that but I'm kind of I'm also really exhausted. Like just 15 minutes before it was time to start, I decided that I can't, I need to start this up again. So, so we were in the middle of reading Bhajana Hasya, but I I want to wait. Like we're just nearly finished with the songbook, like getting it ready for the printers. And once we send that, then I'll have a clear mind, and then I'd like to start reading from Bhajanahasya and Shikshashtakam again. But right now, I'm so exhausted, and I have so much pressure, and it's such a difficult time for me that I just want to go like turn on the thing and just read and not have to think. Um, yeah. So today I didn't know what to read, and so I just opened up Race of the Harmonist article, and then I saw this article by our Param Gurudev. It is called Drishta Nahe Drishya. Sorry, Drishta Nahe Drishya Hoya Seva Kar Karja. So this is the the duty of a servant, or the attitude of a servant, is to be seen, not the seer. I haven't actually read this article, and that's why I wanted to read it, because I thought, yeah, nice to read something new. Oh, Haribol Deepika. Hari. It's a very short article. Maybe we can read something afterwards. I don't know. This is it right here. It was translated for Raise of the Harmonist, Kārtika 2002. Drishta nahi drishya hoya seva kar karya. The attitude of a servant, being the seen, not the seer. Okay, so I'll give you a little update about the songbook also after the reading. It is mentioned in Sri Hari Bhakti Sudodaya 13.2. Akshno palang tva drishadarshanang hi tano palang tva drishagatra sangha jiva palang tva drishakirtanang hi sudurlabha bhagavata hi loke. Devotees of Bhagavan are extremely rare in this world. Therefore, the perfection of the eyes is to see them. The perfection of the body is to touch them. And the perfection of the tongue is to glorify them. Beautiful verse, huh? Remember learning that in Gurukul. Krishna phalamtva darshananki no phalamtva dishagatra sangha jiva phalamtva dishakirtananki sudurlava bhagavata hiloke. Upon seeing the title of this essay and reading this verse, many people will object to this essay even before reading it. Offering our brothers, the readers, prostrated obeisances, and keeping a straw between our teeth, we earnestly beseech them to hear us. By submissively approaching the lotus feet of an Acharya, who is the personified conclusion and the manifested embodiment of Shastra, we can understand that our consideration of Shastra is based on external perception and is nothing but the whim of our minds. Whatever Shastra refutes or rejects, according to our desire, whatever Shastra refutes or rejects, we, according to our desire, accept as the subject and essence of Shastra. In this verse, a fortunate person, Haribol, Nri Haribol, and Papatarani Mataji, Haribol. So in this verse, a fortunate person who has been blessed by darshan of a Bhagavad Bhakta is overwhelmed with bliss. He says, to have the darshan of a Vaishnava is indeed the perfection of the eyes. To touch him is the perfection of the body. And to glorify him is the perfection of the tongue. Because in this world, such Bhagavad Bhaktas are very rare. They're rare. Such a statement has been delivered by the servant of a Vaishnava at his lotus feet, after the servant has received the Vaishnava's mercy and been overwhelmed by gratitude for him. Unless a Vaishnava bestows his mercy upon us and reveals his Swarup, there is no possibility of us knowing and understanding him. The Param Gurudev emphasizes this point again and again. There's no possibility of us knowing or understanding a Vaishnava until that Vaishnava bestows his mercy and reveals his Swarup. When the Vaishnava mercifully reveals his Swarup, the Jiva remembers his previous mundane, sensual, worldly perception of that Vaishnava, and he naturally feels a deep anguish in his heart. That specific form of the Vaishnava, who is devoted to the service of Bhagavan, attracts him to such an extent that as soon as a previous mundane conception of the Vaishnava appears on the path of his memory, he feels disgusted by it. It is stated in the above verse, Akshnopalam tva drisha darshananghi. The perfection of the eyes is to have darshan of a Vaishnava. In such darshan, the mood to render service under that Vaishnava's guidance is indeed expressed. Vaishnavas know no one other than Bhagavan. Vaishnavas know no one other than Bhagavan. In turn, the Vaishnava Sevak knows nothing but service according to the direction of the Vaishnava. This Sevan Dharma, this service attitude of the servant, does not aim at attaining his own enjoyment through acts of seeing and touching that Vaishnava. Bhagavan and Bhagavan's devotees only accept our nature that is devoted to service. They never accept our mundane nature, which is devoid of service. Bhagavan is not a mundane entity of Prakrit Vastu. Similarly, the Shuddha Jivatma is also not a mundane entity. In his pure state, the Jivatma is naturally devoted to service that pleases Bhagavan. Hare Krishna Gopal Ghana Prabhu. On Vidyalala Sadiri. Okay, so Bhagavan is not the Prakrit Vastu. The Shuddha Jivatma is also not the Prakrit Vastu. In his pure state, the Jivatma is naturally devoted to service that pleases Bhagavan. The intense eagerness for the darshan of Bhagavan that is observed in him, in that jiva, is solely to render service to Bhagavan. The perfection of the sevaks... Wait, what? Okay, sorry. The perfection of the sevak's feet in visiting the dham of Bhagavan is to attain the service of Bhagavan. He cleans the temple of Vishnu with his hands, thus enhancing Bhagavan's pleasure. The sevak's two eyes become blessed by collecting all types of beautiful objects solely for the service of Bhagavan. With the help of his nostrils, the sevak is led to gather various fragrant objects to assist in satisfying Bhagavan. With his tongue, the sevak performs the kirtan of Bhagavan's name form, qualities, and pastimes, thus enhancing his bliss. Besides this, he offers extremely tasteful foodstuffs to Bhagavan, having examined them with his tongue. Like Madhavendra Puri, right? He wanted to taste the Amrita Keli so that he could make the same thing. Or yeah, Gopal. The Sevak, the worshipper, has a spiritual body so that the Sevya, the worshipful, Bhagavan, can experience the pleasure of touch from that Sevak. The Vaishnavas of the Sri Sampradaya are devoted to the conception of Vidhi Marg, our regulated devotional service, and cannot embrace the purport of this in their hearts. However, in comparison, the service in the higher adhikar of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas devoted to the path of Rag, our deep attachment, attains the highest extent of perfection for all the senses by this method only. Just yesterday here in Gopinath Bhavan, there's a huge group of people from Udupi, from the Sri Sampradaya. I'm pretty sure they're from the Sri Sampradaya, and they're going to be doing a Bhagavat Saptah here in Gopinath Bhavan. And the temple is completely, Hari Prabhu will probably seen it. Yeah, right now the temple room is just filled with arch and paraphernalia. And also the kitchen, the whole kitchen. So much arch and it's amazing. Yeah. But the Adhikara of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas devoted to the path of Rag attains the highest extent of perfection for all the senses by this method only. We have entitled this essay, The Attitude of a Servant, being the seen, not the seer. This means that one should not consider himself the subject, the seer of Bhagavan. A person should never hurry to have darshan of Bhagavan with the aim of self-enjoyment. When a person has kam, or the desire to please his own senses, the door to the transcendental abode of Bhagavan closes to him. And when mundane endeavors for personal enjoyment and false renunciation have been completely eliminated from the heart that has been illuminated by exclusive surrender to Krishna, Krishnaika Sharanata, the servant's sole disposition is to execute service exclusively for the pleasure of Bhagavan. So at this stage, the servant, like a devotee, doesn't go to have darshan of Thakurji because, oh, I want to see how beautiful, like I want to be able to see the beautiful outfit of Thakurji. But no, they're eager to go there so that they can be seen by Krishna, not so that they can go to have darshan, but to be seen, right? They're going with the mood of service, not the mood of wanting to enjoy the beautiful sight of Thakurji. The transcendental gopis of Braj dress solely for the pleasure of Krishna. Falgutva, that means to falsely renounce that which pleases Krishna, can never result in finding a place in their hearts. Their obsession for Krishna is solely to render service to him. Their act of looking at Krishna's lotus face without blinking their eyelids is also for enhancing his bliss. When Krishna sees that the gopis are looking at him, he becomes delighted. Knowing this, the gopis are exclusively intent on attaining darshan of him. When they look at Krishna, it is not with the intention of personal enjoyment by being the subjects, by being the seer. In other words, they become visible to Krishna. They become the object seen by him. Only to give Krishna bliss do they show him their nature, their swarup, which is completely devoted to his service. Here, the act of showing does not express their ego, but indicates the excellence of their service. Thousands and thousands of pilgrims visit holy places in order to have darshan of Bhagavan. Although most think that they received his darshan, they are actually unlimited miles away from receiving it. When one has actually attained darshan of Bhagavan, he is unable to utter statements like, the deity is made of wood, the deity is made of stone, the deity is made of clay, and Jagannath is devoid of hands and legs. Their act of seeing is endowed with the spirit of personal enjoyment, which is not the spirit of a servant of Bhagavan. Such statements show that their very act of seeing Bhagavan concealed or barred their sight. The very act of seeing Bhagavan has concealed or barred their sight. Many have lost the path by which they can have darshan of Bhagavan, being covered by the darkness of the new moon light, the spirit of personal enjoyment. Therefore, for their deliverance, my Sri Guru Padma has cautioned, do not go to see Jagannath with the spirit of personal enjoyment, which is born of aversion for him, and which is prevalent in this world. Enter the temple of Sri Jagadish carrying the necessary ingredients, that is, a service attitude that delights Jagannath. Always keep in mind that the act of seeing Jagannath with mundane eyes is not how a servant sees him. The servant's disposition is to show him the nature, the swarup of his service attitude. In other words, to become the object, to become the seen. It means to come within his sight in such a way that it means to come within his sight in such a way that delights the worshipful Bhagavan. The servant's attitude is not to derive pleasure himself by seeing Bhagavan. Rather, brilliantly situated within the servant's heart is the attitude, Bhagavan will be delighted by seeing me. As translated from the Sri Gaudiya Patrika, Year 7, Issue 9, 1956. Wow, this is very, very wonderful practical article also. Yeah, the servant's attitude is not to derive pleasure himself by seeing Bhagavan. Rather, brilliantly situated within the servant's heart is the attitude, Bhagavan will be delighted by seeing me. Jai. Okay. That was Drishta nahi drishya hoya seva kar karya. Let's see if there's anything else. This looks like a neat article, but looks a little long. Think there's enough time to read it? Yukta Vairagya, proper renunciation by Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava. Yeah, I think it's a little too long. We can read that another day. What's this one? I haven't seen this article. Wait, let's see. Sorry, just give me a second. You want to read this? Let's read this article by Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava. It says, why do we not like to love Krishna? This is spoken on 21st of October, 1996 at Keshavji Gaudiya Math, Mathura. So Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava, he says, we want to do what pleases us most. The liking for that activity is called ruchi. Why do we not love? Where is my mouse? Just disappeared. Oh, there it is. Okay. Why do we not like to love Krishna? Why do we not like to serve him? This is the point of our discussion today. We like that which gives us pleasure through our senses. But Krishna is such that he cannot be known by our senses. He is transcendental, and therefore he transcends our senses. Our senses cannot know him, nor can they reach him. Through our senses, we cannot taste if he is sweet or not. Because our senses can taste worldly things, we either become attracted to those things or we reject them. We never try to attain something that is not pleasing to our senses. We do not like Krishna because we cannot perceive him with our senses. Our eyes cannot see him. Our ears cannot hear his flute playing. Our nose cannot smell his flavor. And our tongues cannot speak his name or qualities. Oops, where is the next page? One second. Oh, that's confusing. The picture is here, so I have to start here. Okay. So yeah, our eyes cannot see him, our ears cannot hear him, etc. Because it is all beyond our senses, and we are not tasting his attractiveness. We have no affection for him. If we could taste him, we could love him. As long as we cannot taste his sweetness, we are not attracted to him, and we cannot know if he is good or bad. Seeking out a bona fide guide. With our ears, we hear from others that Krishna is very attractive and sweet, and that he is the best. Such hearing is devoid of realization, so we can either choose to believe what we hear or not. Those who believe it may attain him after striving for him, but those who do not believe it will never attain him at any time. Is this not the truth? Therefore, what do those people who seriously want to attain him have to do? Tasmar gurung prapadyeta jigyasu shreya uttamam shabde parechinishnatam brahmanya upashama shrayam. Any person who seriously desires to achieve actual happiness must seek out a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of Shastra by deliberation and argument, and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken complete shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, are to be understood as bona fide spiritual masters. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 4:29-55. If we want to know the best subject, Krishna, we should surrender to a person with complete knowledge of him. A person who has complete knowledge of him, who is appointed to teach that subject. That person is Gurudev. Gurudev can explain Krishna to us because he is very near to him, and because he is serving him. Gurudev is Krishna's very intimate potency. Unless and until we accept Gurudev's shelter, we cannot know the sweetness of Krishna. This is the reason why we do not like him or have no ruchi for him. Maya mugda jiver nahi swata Krishna gyan jivere kripaye koila Krishna Veda Puran. The conditioned soul cannot revive his Krishna consciousness by his own effort. But out of causeless mercy, Sri Krishna compiled the Vedic literature and its supplement, the Puranas. That's in Madhya Lila, chapter 20, verse 122. At our stage, we are so overpowered by Maya that we have no knowledge of Krishna. Who is Krishna? We cannot explain. We have no idea who he is. The human being overpowered by Maya has no knowledge of Krishna or God. He cannot see Krishna. He can see an airplane and how it works, and he can describe this to others, but he cannot explain who Krishna is because he has no knowledge of him. Why are we wise to material matters, but not transcendental matters? Krishna, Prem, and Bhakti, all are transcendental. Unless and until we take shelter of that person who is transcendental, we cannot know anything of the transcendental realm. Tadvigyanartham sagurum eva bigache. One must approach a bona fide guru to learn that transcendental knowledge. That's from the Mundaka Upanishad 1-12. Our scriptures give this instruction. One who wants to know Krishna should go to a person who knows him. That person is Gurudev, the Divine Master. Krishna cannot be attained by a material process. You may say that one who endeavors with a sincere heart will receive everything, just as Ekalavya did. Although Dronacharya did not accept Ekalavya as his student, Ekalavya had a picture of Dronacharya in front of which he endeavored to perform the art of archery. Ekalavya was so successful that he possessed Shabda Bhedi Ban, the skill of accurately shooting an arrow simply by hearing the sound of his target. Someone may quote the example of Ekalavya to ask why we cannot attain knowledge of Krishna. If we try, surely we'll get it. So what is the need of surrendering to a guru? Krishna is not purchased by some people. He is for all. He is not partial. Why will he not bless me? I will surely get his blessings if I try to get him. This sort of questioning is present in our knowledge. But why did Ekalavya succeed in his archery? And we have not. And so why did he succeed in his archery and we have not in the matter of attaining God? Why? The answer is that archery is a material science. By a material process, we can attain material knowledge. But spiritualism is not materialism, and Krishna cannot be attained by a material process. He is spiritual, and the process to attain him must also be spiritual. But we have no knowledge of spirit. The education we received in school or college pertains to material subjects, not spiritual ones. They impart knowledge indirectly, not directly. They say that something exists that is spiritual, but what that thing is, they cannot say. The physicians or the surgeons operate on this body, but do not find the spirit. Until now, no instrument has been devised that can find it. No instruments have been devised that can find it, that can know that spirit. However, everyone is bound to accept that when the spirit leaves the body does not function. The presence of spirit is the main cause of the body's functioning. The body is inert and material. It is always material. It is not sometimes spiritual and sometimes material. For example, I can move the stick. Has it become spirit just because it is moving? No. It is always material and inanimate. It has no sense, no feeling, no movement, etc. This body is just like that. But we think we are moving because of the presence of matter. No, the body moves because of the presence of spirit. What is that spirit? From where does it originate? Where does it reside? Our Vedas educate one in that spiritualism, Sanatan Dharma. India's neglected wealth. Spiritual culture is present in India, but not in other parts of the world. Therefore, people come to India. Therefore, people come to India to learn spiritual science. The Vedas, the Upanishads, all are present here. But we are sorry to say that we are ignorant of our own sciences. This is described by one Bengali poet, Michael Madhusudan Datta, who went to England for an education for higher knowledge and became a Christian. At the end of his life, he wrote this lamentation. What is not present in India? The best is here. But I am such a fool. I went to a Western country for a higher education. So we are also foolish like that, going to England, America, and Russia to get a higher education, even though people from those countries admit that they are getting the best knowledge from India. We are so overwhelmed by Maya, however, that we disrespect and disobey our superiors, our rishis and our spirit and our scriptures. And we say that our scriptures are a myth. This true history is now called mythology. We consider it unnecessary to read our scriptures, thinking them good for nothing, and we educate our little boys accordingly. In this way, they are becoming atheistic. It is not mythology. Nila kasher kon khane porira sab korche khela. Pari jate phule bone mithya olik kalpana. Kama dhenu swarnalata chalanaya bhulbona. Chalanai bhulbona. In which part of the blue sky are the angels playing? In the forest of parijata flowers. This is untrue and imaginary. There are wish-fulfilling cows and golden vines. I will never forget these cheating statements. One Bengali lady poet named Man Kumari said that there are angels in the blue sky is completely false. In what part of the sky are they present? It is said that they are playing there. But this is false. We have not seen them with our eyes, therefore they are not present. Her thinking is like this: I am blind. I have no power to see, and therefore everybody is blind. She concludes that angels do not exist. She says, Nila kasher kon khane purira shab korche khela. In which part of the sky are they playing? Parijat phul bone. They are playing in the forest of parijat flowers. This is all false and imaginary. It is not true. Kam dhenu swarnalata. Wish-fulfilling cows and golden vines. These statements are false. Regarding the Kamdhenu, a wish-fulfilling cow, a description is given in the Mahārāja about a fight to secure that Kamdhenu from the father of Parshuram and Jammu. But Man Kumari says that they are all false and that our scriptures are full of false explanations and statements. Such education is imparted to our boys, and they have no regard for our Shastras. She says, there's no Swarnalata. No, the creepers are not made of gold. In Vrindavan, the plants are called Kalpataru. Whatever you want from them, they can give. They say this is false. The earth and the sands of Vrindavan is made of precious gems, Chintamani. Whatever you pray to them for, they can bestow. The water of Vrindavan is Amrita, is nectar. If you drink it, you will not die. You'll never again take birth from a womb. Such are the statements about Vrindavan. Because we cannot perceive these realities with our senses, we conclude that they are false and can never be true. Can a 7-year-old boy lift Govardhan Hill? We think it is a falsehood. Because we are overpowered by Maya, we do not know who Krishna is. We think that because we cannot perceive God with our eyes and other senses, he is shapeless. Such is our thinking. God is not shapeless. In the Upanishads it is stated, Yato vai imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayantyabhisam vishanti tad brahma tad vijigyasava. Gyasasva, sorry. You should understand Brahma to be he from whom all living beings are born, by whose help they live and progress throughout life, and in whom they again enter. That's from the Taittiriya Upanishad 3.1. This description and definition of Brahma, this is a description of and a definition of Brahma. All these creations, animals and beasts, are created out of Brahma. In this creation of which he is the creator, we can see that human beings and that other beings have a shape. How then is it possible for God to have no shape? that a son has a shape proves that his father and mother have a shape. Unless they have a shape, the child could not have a shape. Mustard oil comes by pressing mustard seeds. This proves that mustard seeds contain mustard oil. If you press rubbish, no oil will come out because the potency to produce oil is not present in that rubbish. That everything comes from Brahma and that there are various shapes in this creation proves that all shapes are present in the Creator. This is not only accepted in our Sanatana Dharma, but in every Dharma, as in the Christian religion. The Bible says God created man in his own image. What does this mean? Your form is not shapeless. In Christianity, there are two schools of thought. One admits God has a shape and the other does not. This is also stated in the Muslim religion, where we see that there are also two differing views. Their scripture says, Allah created human beings in his own image. Therefore, God is not shapeless. He has shape. Furthermore, he has every shape perceivable by our eyes. He is omnipotent, the possessor of all power. We cannot imagine the extent of his power. We could never imagine a 7-year-old boy being able to lift Govardhan Hill. Only Krishna can do this. He killed the demon Putana, whose breasts were smeared with poison. Krishna sucked, and Putana died. But if we had sucked her breasts, we would have died. Putana killed so many children in this way, and she wanted to kill Krishna like this also. But Krishna is not like other babies. He is the creator, the source of all creation. But Putana could not understand this. If Krishna appears before us like an ordinary boy, we will not recognize him as the Supreme Lord, the Almighty, because our senses cannot understand him. How to approach the Absolute? How then can he be understood? Tad vigyanartham sagurum eva bigachet. To learn that transcendental subject matter, one must approach a spiritual master. That's from Mundaku Upanishad 1-12. Dhruva went to the forest and cried, "O Madhusudan, come to me and fulfill my desire. I want to sit on my father's throne." To attain this, he gave up everything, even eating. With much endeavor, he performed great austerities. Although Narayan was satisfied with Dhruva, he could not appear before him. He called his son Narad. And said, "Narad, go and see how Dhruva is suffering." Why did Narayan himself not go to him? Narad could have said, "You go, he's calling you." But instead, Narad went personally to Dhruva. Why was it necessary for Narad to go to Dhruva when Dhruva was actually calling for Narayan? The reason is that if Narayan had gone to Dhruva, he would not be able to understand who he was. To enable him to understand, Narad was sent there as that divine master, that agent of God's purpose, Gurudev, who can bestow all knowledge about the reality of God. Unless and until we accept that agent, we cannot know and understand Shri Krishna, nor can we have ruchi for him. The salve of love. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shama sundaram achinta guna swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I perform bhajan of the primeval Purush, Shri Govinda, who is Sham Sundar Krishna. His form has inconceivably unique qualities, and his Shuddha Bhaktas perpetually see him in their hearts with the eye of devotion anointed with the salve of love. It's Brahma Samhita 38. With these material eyes, he is not visible, but the eyes must be smeared with that anjan, a salve. That salve is called prem. Therefore, devotional eyes are necessary. The highest stage of devotion is called prema. That sum of all knowledge is known through the subject matter of prema. Unless and until we apply that prema anjan, that salve of love on the eyes, it is not possible to know him, to love him, or to get a sweet taste, ruchi, for him. Right? Also, we hear sevam mukhe hijiva adau swayam eva spurateda. Only when the senses become inclined towards service does Krishna's name dance upon the tongue, or the senses are able to perceive it. Same point which our Param Gurudev was making, that we want to become drishya, but not the drishta, but the drishya. Not the seer, but the seen. So this prem, however, is not easily attained. We have to progress through different stages. Adau shraddha, tatha sadhu sango, bhajana kriya, tato nartana vritti sat, tato nishta ruchis tata, atha shaktis tato bhavas, tata prema bhidanchati, sadakanam ayam premna, pradhur bhavit krama. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his direction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By executing devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment. He attains steadiness and self-realization and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This taste leads one further forward to have attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhav, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love for Krishna. Real love for Krishna is called prem, the highest perfectional stage of life. That's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:4-15 to 16. Oops. Okay, so by serving Krishna, everyone is served. Sorry. Since many stages are there, one must graduate from many classes. The first is Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kohe Sudrada Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. If one serves Krishna, all will be served. But we do not even believe in the very first stage. We think, what is the value of serving Krishna in a temple when there are not human beings when there are human beings suffering due to lack of food and clothing? What is the need of pouring milk on Govardhan Hill? Daily, so much milk goes to the drain. There is such a waste of food. What is the necessity of pouring ghee on the fire? Why waste so many flowers? All these things are useless. If we offered them to the poor, it would be more practical. This is the thinking of people who have no faith, no shraddha. But such thinking has no value. Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. By serving Krishna, everyone is served. Tasmin tushte jagat tushta. When one pleases him, everyone is pleased. But nowadays, one prefers to give pleasure to the poor instead of giving pleasure to God. Their thinking is opposite to this conclusion of Shastra, as the doctrine they preach. As is the doctrine they preach. These ideas also prevail in the political sphere. People are thinking, it is not necessary to worship God, and there is no need of our religion. There is no God. It is a godless society. If we ask them, where this phenomena, if we ask them where this phenomenal world comes from, they answer from nature. But when we ask, when then does nature come from? Where then does nature come from? When we say that, then there is silence. However, Krishna has said, Mama Yonir Mahar Brahma Tasmin Garbham Dadamyaham. My Prakriti, our material nature, is the womb which I impregnate with the jivas. It's in Bhagavad Gita 14.3. Bhumir apo nalo vayu kang mano buddhirevacha ahankaram iti yame dhinna prakriti ashtada apareyam itastanyam prakritam vidime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayidam dharyate jagat. My material external energy has 8 divisions: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. O Mahabaho, you should know that my external energy, which consists of 8 divisions, is inferior. There is another potency of mine known as the Jiva Sarup, which is superior and which accepts this material world for the purpose of enjoying the fruits of karma. It's Bhagavad Gita 7, verses 4 to 5. Krishna says, everything has been created by me. Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram onkara riksama yajure vacha. I am the mother, the father, the maintainer, and the grandsire of the universe. I am the object of knowledge and the purifier. I am the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, Sama, and Yajurvedas. It's Bhagavad Gita 9:17. Sarva yonishu konteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasam brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradapita. O Konteya, the Mahad Brahma, the great material nature, is the mother from whose womb all species of life are born, and I am the seed-giving father. It's Bhagavad Gita 14.4. Everything is created by him. Pita, he is the father of all beings. By serving him, everything connected with him is satisfied. Everything has a connection with him. He is the shelter of all. Nothing can rest without his shelter. Tasmin tushte jagat tushta. When one pleases him, everyone is pleased. Yata taror mula nishechanena tripyanti tat skanda pujo pashaka. Pujo pashaka. Prano paharach chayatindriyanam tataiva sarvarhanam achyuteja. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves. And by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 4:31-14. By watering the root of a tree, every part of the tree will be served. The root will distribute water to every part of the tree according to its necessity. Our senses are functioning. Our eyes are seeing, our ears are hearing, our hands are working, etc. What should we do to nourish them? Should we feed them separately by giving some butter and bread to the eyes and ears? No, this is not the proper process. Through the mouth, we supply the stomach with food, and the stomach distributes throughout the body as necessary. Tataiva sarvarhanam achyuteja. In the same way, only by worshipping Sri Bhagavan is everyone worshipped. I will serve Achyuta, who is the root. By serving the root, everyone is served. This is stated in the Vedas and Puranas. We must endeavor to serve everyone with our hearts and souls. But the result is opposite to what we expect. The more we try, the more opposite is the result. We think that by such service, we will become increasingly happy, but instead we become more unhappy. Why? Because the process is wrong. A lack of proper knowledge. In ancient days, everyone worshipped God. Everyone tried to satisfy him by their actions. But nowadays, everyone thinks it is unnecessary to serve God. Instead of serving God, we should worship and satisfy the depressed and the poor. We are now pursuing such thought. But Krishna says, if you love me, everyone will be served. This is a teaching of Shastra. Avajananti mamuda manusham tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. When I appear in my human-like form, foolish people with mundane intelligence disrespect me because they cannot comprehend my nature as the supreme Lord of all beings. It's Bhagavad Gita 9:11. This is a statement of Krishna. Avajananti muda. Those who are overwhelmed by Maya have no proper knowledge. They regard me as a mere man. Krishna is a cowherd boy, they think. They do not know who he is. Shri Krishna says, what of them? Even Brahma could not understand me. We're at the end of the article now. Even Brahma could not understand me. In my Leela and Braj, Brahma saw me with the cowherd boys and thought, this is why did we make the M capital? It should be a small m. Anyways, that's like confused me. Yeah, Brahma saw me with the cowherd boys and said, this is my creation. I created Nanda Mahārāja, and Krishna is his son. Later, Krishna revealed himself to Brahma, and upon receiving such mercy, Brahma prayed, no midyate prabhupushe taridambaraya kunjavatansa paripichala sanmukaya vanyasraje kavalavet parvishanavenu lakshmashriye mardupade pashupangajaya. Lord Brahma said, my dear Lord, you are the only worshipful Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of the cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hands. Srimad Bhagavatam, first verse of Brahma's prayers. O Lord, you are worshipped by everybody. You are my worshipful object. I am not worshipped by you. Uncountable times Brahmaji became perplexed before Krishna. This place where Brahmaji became bewildered is still present in Vrindavan, and we shall go there. This pastime is not a myth, although our schools and colleges teach that it is. It is in fact the truth. This sort of education destroys our faith and should be revised and replaced with the traditional method of the olden days. We should not give up the education of our ancient Vedas and Puranas. Now we receive education according to Western teachings. Eat, drink, and be merry. We think that if we dress in a coat and in trousers and speak English, we'll be high-class men. New ideas are introduced. Why should we control marriages? Marriage should be performed anywhere and with anyone we like. Everything has been destroyed and European and Western styles have been introduced. And we say, see, we are like you. We are following you. We have become so free. We have become your slaves. This tendency not to submit to our Vedic knowledge and culture is the main reason why we do not have Shraddha, and thus why we do not turn into developing a liking. And that's why we do not, in turn, develop a liking for Krishna. This should be considered. Hare Krishna. Okay, so now it is 8:03. That's the end of our program for today. Just do short Mahamantra and yeah, end of the room. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय, श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय, श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय, जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय, श्री परम गुरुदेव की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, जय श्री रूपान गौरिया गुरु वर्ग की जय, स्वापार्षद श्री गौर नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय, श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीगान की जय, श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय, श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय, श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, जय श्री भक्ति वेदांत त्रिविक्रम गोसाई महाराज की जय, जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव कृष्ण भक्ति पद देवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। धन्यवाद, प्रणाम सुंदरी हरि प्रभु, भवधारिणी माता जी, अनादि कृष्ण प्रभु, Vidyalala Siddhi, and everybody else watching, and all devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jai Devi Prabhu, and everybody else. Dandava pranams, thank you so much for joining, and see you all tomorrow. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.